Okay, I'm going to refresh your brains about angles. An acute angle is an angle that measures less than 90 degrees. It's cute. That's how I like to think about it. A right angle, so there's an example right down here. A right angle forms a 90 degree, right? That's a right angle. An acute angle, so I'll say is less than 90 degrees. Obtuse is greater, and it's really between, I should do this to be a little bit more clear. It's greater than 90, but it's less than 180 degrees. A straight angle is this. It is a straight line. It's 180 degrees. So a straight angle equals 180 degrees. And then a reflex angle is when you've got an angle and instead of stopping here, it goes all the way around. So let me do this. So this entire piece that's larger than 180, well, in fact, it's larger than 180, but it's less than 360. Okay, complementary angles are when two angles, so you've got this angle, and they add up to 90 degrees. That's complementary. Supplementary is when you have two angles that sit on a straight line. Those two angles add up to 180 degrees. So one way that might help you remember, 90 is less than 180. Alphabetically, C is less than S or comes before S. I don't know. I try to think of little tricks to help people remember things in case you don't have notes for a test. Okay, so the reason I want to bring all this stuff is I want to now talk about reference angles. So, reference angles are angles that exist between the x-axis and the terminal side of the angle. The other thing I want you to pay attention to here, I have labeled, I do not like that color. I have labeled the quadrants. Notice they're in Roman numeral. They must be labeled in Roman numeral numbers. 1, and we're going counterclockwise the way we go, the same direction that we go with angles. So and then we don't call them 1, 2, 3, and 4 quadrants. We call them first, second, third, fourth quadrants. And then notice in parentheses, I put what the x and y values would equal. So if you label the coordinate point right there, so let me find one on a, let's pretend that's right there. Well, that would be positive. We went over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And we went up 4, right? But in this quadrant, if I picked a point, well, that point, we went back -2 and then up 5. So notice that's what I did here with the signs. So in the second quadrant, the x value is negative, all the y values are positive. In the third quadrant down here, we went left, and left is negative from the origin, and we went down from the origin. So negative, negative, and then the fourth quadrant, well, now we're moving back in the positive direction, so the x's are positive, but we're still below the x-axis, so the y value is negative. Okay, so let's look at a reference angle. What I showed you is that, or told you that, the reference angle exists between the x-axis and the terminal side of the angle. So for this example, this angle, this angle right in here, that would be a reference angle. Now, if we had gone backwards in the negative direction, all the way to here, well, this would still be the distance. the x-axis to this side would still be, let's say that's 30 degrees. 30 degrees, even if the angle itself is a negative angle, the reference angle is always positive, and it's always from the x-axis to the other side of the angle. Okay, let's try another one. So notice, so if we go from here to here, this would be the angle we're talking about. But if we want to know the reference angle, it's from the x-axis to the terminal side of the angle. So it would be this angle right here. And here we have an example of what I talked about a minute ago. We're going from here all the way to here. But that whole thing would not be the reference angle because it's this is the x-axis. The other thing you need to know about a reference angle is always going to be acute, meaning less than 90 degrees. So the terminal side of the angle is here, the x-axis is here. That means that this is the reference angle. I think you're kind of getting the idea now. So for this angle, going all the way to right there, here is the terminal side, here is the x-axis. So this right in through here is the reference angle. So it doesn't matter. Let's say, for example, let's say, I'm going to erase all this. Let's pretend we went around once, we went around twice, we went around 3 times, and we ended up here. Well, that's a very, very large angle. That's approximately getting close to 1,000-degree angle. But when you're asked what is the reference angle is still this piece. And remember, all reference angles are less than 90 degrees, and they're always positive. All right, that's it for reference angles and how to label quadrant numbers.